by 61st virtual resource networking event. Thank you. I am Jan, um, and I will be one of your moderators for today's event. So we'd like to welcome everyone, and sorry, I just heard a sound there. Sorry about that. Just want to establish some ground rules throughout this event. I want to encourage everyone to stay muted unless speaking or called upon. If you have that, oh, my apologies. And would like to introduce Carmen. Carmen, go ahead.
It's okay. You can keep going.
Okay, so establishing some ground rules. We like to encourage every participant to stay muted unless you raise your hand and called upon. Direct questions or comments in the chat box as needed. And also, we encourage the camera use through this engagement. There's times that you want to turn off the camera, by all means do so. But you know, please be respectful and supportive of the environment during our networking event. Also, if we are talking for a long period of time, just be advised your mic might be cut off, or you'll be given a few more seconds by one of our moderators to say, hey, wrap it up. It's just to keep everyone on the flow of the show, and under the time limit that we're in within our 4 hours schedule. And so now I'll hand it over to Carmen.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for coming today. So I will also be one of your moderators along with Matthew Phillip Wee, our Senior Director of Special Projects, and Julie Bruno, our Assistant Director of Digital Engagement. And we'll also be joined by our V2I volunteers who will serve as breakout room facilitators. So if you see Dixie Banner, David Muhammad, or Daniel Collins, or other volunteers, they'll be there to lead you. And then we'll ask if you've been here before and there's no volunteer in your room, whoever is the senior member, just go ahead and take the lead in those rooms. Before we get started with our guest speaker, I want to share a little bit about VETS2INDUSTRY and why we do what we do at these events. So VETS2INDUSTRY was founded to create a centralized site to access free resources available to the military community. Thanks to the generous sponsorship of Signal Health Group, we have expanded our service options, and we're able to continue these networking events and do a little more. So we're able to do monthly webinars dedicated to different transition topics such as financial planning, resume writing, soft skills. We're introducing an industry-specific webinar series, and we're going to start that off with the broadband industry. That'll be in August. And then we are launching our new training webinar series called Your Next Mission, which is going to be different topics related to transition. So entrepreneurship, resume writing, branding, all those things to help you with your job search. And then last but certainly not least, our We series. That's our series dedicated to helping you keep that job that you work so hard to get during all the steps that you take during your job search process. We want to invite you to participate in our events this month, and we're going to make some announcements to share more about what those are. But to stay on schedule, I want to go ahead and introduce our keynote speaker, which I'm very happy to share with you today. I'm proud to introduce Anthony Niles. He is the EVP in Talent Acquisition for JOBSwithDOD. JOBSwithDOD is the leading defense industry job board and features careers at DoD civilian agencies and defense tech companies. So whether your next career move is in the Department of Defense as a civilian employee or as a defense company, at a defense company, JOBSwithDOD provides a comprehensive platform that allows you to apply for those jobs. Today, Anthony is going to discuss the state of hiring in the defense industry and highlight special topics related to hiring of civilians, as well as hiring in the private sector defense industry. And we know this is a hot topic with everything that's going on today. So we welcome Anthony to share those expert insights. So I'm going to turn it over to him.
Carmen, thanks so much. Thanks for hosting today, and so happy to be here with all of you. I think all of us wish we had a crystal ball to tell us what's next. It's an interesting time in our country's history, especially with defense. Things seem to be changing by the minute, and it doesn't really matter what media source we turn to look at. We're getting different information, and it's tough to know how do we plan our steps both tactically and strategically to try to make the most of our moves forward with our careers and with our life balance goals. So as Carmen said, I work on talent acquisition at JOBSwithDOD. What that means very practically is that I work with defense companies as well as the civilian components within the DoD, helping them to work through our job board and post information about their company's profiles as well as post their jobs with us. So our goal is to create an ecosystem for the defense industry. We're not, trying to reduce anyone to clearance status or other specific skill sets, but trying to create, as broad of a basket within our niche as possible. Because no matter how any of you feel as job seekers that, maybe you feel like the challenges abound, it's much more difficult for these great employers to find great talent. And that's because within defense, we all know it's a needle in 5 haystacks, not just one, because it's such a skill set and such an expertise. And when you layer all those things on top of each other, no matter how competitive you may feel it is out there, just know that you really do have a great advantage in the marketplace. I'm sure that many of you have excellent resumes, experience, and when you layer on top of that, most probably military experience in the battlefield, experience in the armed forces, it gives you a great opportunity to say there's much that you can do to bring deep value to these companies. And so I don't want you to in any way feel like there are not options out there, because there are many. And I just want to add one more thing, and then we'll get into this here. But a big component of this is I think people are concerned, especially if you've been working in the government. This whole thing with the buyout and kind of what does this mean. One thing that we've seen within Jobs with DoD is that there's been a lot of absorption by the broader civilian private sector marketplace of people taking the buyout. It's been a very strong play for companies that have been hungry for talent. And oftentimes we know that starting off the new year, January, and in this case after inauguration, really led to a high growth rate of people that were leaving the Department of Defense or leaving other federal jobs and looking at options in private sector. And the absorption rate, meaning the rate at which people are being able to be hired up into private sector, has been remarkable. So I think it's answering a call that there's oftentimes been an incredible demand for talent and difficult to find. And now, kind of, if you will, a blessing in disguise that these private companies are in a position to hire up. And I think that many of you here that are maybe coming out of public sector defense work are seeing that there are a lot of opportunities to land some of those dream roles that are out there. So I really want to focus the time that I have left to talk with you on trying to get right to the Q&A session, because I think the way we can maximize our time together is to try and answer what specific questions you might have. But I did just want to touch on a few key points that I think will be very interesting. One we touched on, of course, was, the marketplace is competitive, yes, but when we look at it from a recruiter standpoint and from the standpoint of companies trying to be competitive in the marketplace, we haven't had a time in recent living memory, perhaps maybe, looking back at the Cold War era, excluding that, when there were more defense companies, emerging defense companies, entering into the marketplace and seeking top talent than we have now. the landscape of defense is changing at such an alarming rate, such a fast rate, when we look at automated systems and the technologies being deployed out in the battlefield and things being tested, with a lot of, things related to drones and things related to control of drones, systems to prevent them and to create a strong national defense system. It's created so many new companies that there is a lot more competition among those legacy defense companies that are already out there. And so what that really has resulted in for job seekers, what we're seeing at Jobs with DoD, is that for all of you that are searching actively, and for those even searching more passively for jobs, there's a lot more opportunity to align your bigger picture career goals and life goals, and try to look out on the landscape of these companies and do a really good analysis of how do these companies match up with my key priorities, and maybe not be as quick to look at the role, but first look at the companies and say, I can be a little bit more circumspect and say, these smaller companies are going to be much more agile. The larger companies, they're going to have their pros and cons. And I really need to take a careful look at how they compare and how they contrast, and where do I want to fit my life goals and my work goals in it at this particular juncture of where I'm at with my age, with my profession, with what my aspirations are. So there's a lot more flexibility, I think, now than we've had over the last 30, over the last 20, even over the last 10 years, looking back at the growth of the industry. And if you look at it even a layer up of the manufacturing and the industrial sector that defense is a part of, a big component of that is going to be tooling up. I have a friend who just purchased the naming rights to Bethlehem Steel, and he's planning on relaunching the company as a US company here and rebuilding that company from the ground up. And this is something that in a lot of respects, it's tying into shipbuilding, it's tying into the mining industry that is, continuing to grow and looking to take off in new markets. And so I'd say, look broadly and look at areas where you wouldn't think of traditional defense taking root at. And so, kind of looking upstream at manufacturing and things that are happening here within the States, within heavy industry. There's a lot of technical roles where even, I've seen this a lot, where a lot of people are acting as consultants to these heavy industries to bring them that thought leadership and that expertise that they have from having worked in the government or from having been in the military. And, in a certain respect, there's not a price you could almost put on that value of your expertise. And so I think thinking about your own brand and positioning yourself is a huge way to level up and to bring some distinct value as you look to say, okay, how can I set myself apart on my resume and in building that narrative of who I am professionally that would allow me to bring value, to your organization. And then, the one last thing I wanted to touch on today is really localized markets. Whether we're looking at kind of emerging defense tech hubs, such as, the suburbs and the outlying areas around Los Angeles, like the community of El Segundo, where there's a lot of growth of new companies in manufacturing and defense, or more traditional defense markets like Austin and, Silicon Valley and places like this. There are so many new companies that are taking root there, and they're very complementary, oftentimes working with more legacy defense companies. So it's very exciting to see that. And I think, a big question that I've had just with people reaching out to me on LinkedIn is, how do I get a foothold? How can I kind of maneuver and put myself to be up there in front of employers to gain access and build more of a personal rapport with them? And, there's always, really good opportunities to look at networking events, whether they're digital or things in person. I'm a big believer that some of the greatest success I've seen is going and talking with local community economic development councils. Those are appointed and elected representatives within the community who are responsible for liaising between private sector businesses and the interests of a local municipality, suburban or a state or city municipality, because their big incentive is, of course, wanting to stay elected. And to the extent they're serving a constituency, they're bringing value, they're helping to ensure their voter base is happy with the work they're doing, and they're bringing economic growth, prosperity into their community. So I found that sitting down, maybe grabbing a coffee with some of these economic development council directors, their information is out there on their websites. They're always open to connecting and building relationships. And oftentimes they're going to have a pulse on things like, General Dynamics is going to be adding 3,000 jobs to their ship making capabilities in, a town in Connecticut, or, with Boeing's new F-47, Missouri's going to see a lot of growth. Who are the leaders in these communities that you can reach out to connect as bridge builders and try to help you maybe build some relationships and get some introductions? So, that's a big part of it. And I would just suggest doing those things you can that are kind of on the periphery of, I'm applying, put my resume out there, I'm active on LinkedIn, and I'm looking on more niche job boards like JOBSwithDOD. Things like that are critical, but I would say set yourself apart and try to look at those things kind of way out there on the end of the bell curve, like drilling down in and looking at ways you can network with people in the economic development councils or people that are a part of the community in those leadership roles. So, Carmen, if we could go to the Q&A component, I'd love to talk with people more personally and see what questions we have.
Absolutely. So if you have a question for Anthony, you can come off of mute and ask your question, or put it in the chat and we can share it that way. So we can get started with it. All right, looks like Jake has a question. Jake G. You can come off of mute, Jake, with your question.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought I was. But anyway, first, I just want to say thank you for putting all of this together and allowing us to network like this once or twice a month or however often. Secondly, you mentioned that you yourself don't necessarily deal with clearances. Or I believe you worded it as you look past like the clearance requirement, or you don't reduce to the clearance requirement. Would you be able to liaise with companies that do have cleared positions and say, I recommend this person for sponsorship based on, these credentials, and things like that? Sorry, that's my question. It kind of ended weirdly, but yeah, that's my question.
No, thanks so much, Jake. That's a great question, and I'm kind of, I think I understand also maybe where you're coming from, and correct me if I'm wrong. So yeah, I mean, I think oftentimes there's kind of this intuition that, and I don't want to point the finger at organizations like Clearance Jobs, but I think that we're all more than our skills, or than what's out there is kind of like our credentials on paper, right? Like we have experience that is, you can't really quantify it in terms of the value it brings. If you've worked in an industry, or you've been in a battlefield, like you can't reduce that to a clearance level. And yet, how many jobs out there, that's kind of like this, there's a huge spotlight on this is a defining component of why we hire. Well, what I'm saying in terms of like why I don't think we should get as stuck on the clearance issue is that was an issue more so, call it the era before 9/11, even, looking 25 years ago. And as we've moved further away from that, we've seen the defense industry really have the playing field more leveled, in terms of, if you've got some luminary programmer that wants to leave Google or Facebook, or people that are brilliant in finance leaving Wall Street, people that are basically outside the industry, and they're applying to a job at pick your blue chip defense company, there's really not a chance that the employer isn't going to be willing to say, I'm going to sponsor them to get the clearance background check, because you're not going to miss this chance to have top talent. And many, many more people over the last 25 years have looked at defense as an industry that they want to go into. And so all of that to say, I don't think that security clearance or not, you should rule yourself out for something if you think that you could bring a great amount of value, regardless of what your clearance is. We don't act as recruiters at Jobs with DoD. So our role, we don't charge anything to job seekers to join and to view all of the jobs, to read our articles, or to apply. But we don't do any lobbying, if you will, or any work on behalf of a particular company, because we're trying to really be empirical and focusing on having an ecosystem that's inclusive of any company that wants to post jobs with us. So we're not trying to advocate on behalf of either certain companies, certain jobs, or certain employees, but we're really trying to create a much broader ecosystem that says, we're going to post jobs that have clearances and we're going to post jobs that don't, because oftentimes there's many roles within the defense industry that don't require clearance. And we just really want to make sure that whether it's for professionals that work in the field that want to stay in defense or go into defense that may not need a clearance role, or for the defense companies that have all these roles they want to fill that don't require clearance, there's an ecosystem out there where all of those people can come together under one roof and connect and grow and build their organizations and their careers in a successful way.
Thank you. That makes sense. Thank you.
Any other questions? While we're waiting, we have one from one of our volunteers who couldn't be here today. They wanted to ask what were some of the misconceptions when applying for roles with the Department of Defense, and how can they overcome those things that they don't know to be successful?
No, that's a great question. And to answer that, I would say let's first answer in two parts. The first answer is let's look more broadly at the entire federal workforce. I think right now there's so much churn happening and so much, call it unknown. I would say wait till Elon's done come June, July. And when he gets back to building cars and we get back to running the government and helping lead the country through service, we'll see where things are at. I don't think anyone truly knows. And I've talked with people that are helping to lead the, USAID and other federal organizations, and they've said the same thing, that they think that once this all settles down a bit, there's going to be much more of an understanding as to what the plan is moving forward. So I would say, to the extent that you can wait 2, 3, maybe even 4 months to start looking more critically at roles within the federal government, unless you know that it's a component that is not being affected, then that's what I would do. And within defense specifically, I think that it's evident through what we're seeing that the most high-tech roles, things with cybersecurity, kind of those hot buzzword career components, are going to remain roles that they're going to look to fill. And it's just going to be a matter of, does the reorganization change which organizations are responsible for hiring and how? And I think that remains to be seen. I do think that for all of the upheaval, there has been pretty good coverage within the press corps of kind of helping people to keep a pulse on things and know what's happening. And so I would strongly advocate for keeping a good eye on what's happening in the news. You certainly can look at our career news sections. We're trying to keep as on top of it as possible. I've got a DoD press pass, and so do our editorial team. So we're trying to get in there. We're trying to ask good questions. We're trying to stay on top of things so that we can bring that information back to everybody there. And I'll certainly try to keep information flowing into the VETS2INDUSTRY group, so Carmen can give it some thumbs up, and we'll get you guys knowing what's going on out there.
Thank you, Anthony. We appreciate you for that. Who's next? Who else has questions? Don't be shy.
I have a question. What do you think the top in-demand jobs are right now in the Department of Defense? Like if somebody is looking at getting additional certifications or training, what should they be focusing on?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, I think the short answer is anything related to cybersecurity, because that's really where we see the national security threats coming from with foreign and state actors trying to threaten the U.S. It's things related to cyber infrastructure. But that being said, not everybody comes at looking at a defense job as a computer programmer, computer cybersecurity person. So my thought would be look at that component and look at your own experiences and figure out how you could even be in a supportive role that works within that broader component. Whether it's something in HR that services that area, whether it's something that's aligned and within that constellation of serving cybersecurity and defense technology in that way.
I can add some here. Okay, so since I work in Intel community or whatever, anybody who has unmanned vehicles, that is the hot thing, and they're going to build the Golden Dome. So thousands of jobs are going to be, all these cuts are so we can afford the Golden Dome. So anybody who's in unmanned vehicles and counter UAVs, something like that. That's all hot right now in private companies. And then government jobs, there's a government hiring freeze. So just be aware that that's going to take a little time to unfreeze. But private companies, anybody who's got that unmanned stuff, boy, you can name your price, I think.
And I'll just add to that, I think we're going to see more of a, not a merger per se, but we're going to see less of a defined line between domestic DoD work and DHS work, as we've already seen where, DoD is going in and staffing up and standing alongside DHS in things related to what's being classified as national security interests, things happening domestically. And so I think another strategic play might be looking at everything that's happening around DHS as a national security component that might be a way you could find an angle or a way to expose yourself to both employers that have traditionally serviced DHS as well as career components within DHS after the dust settles with this hiring freeze, because I think that's going to be a growing field where, at least under this administration and maybe into the future, having a more insular approach to defense is going to be something, and defense meaning what we're doing to protect our national borders, is going to be something that I think the government is illustrating they're very concerned about. So don't limit your outlook of cybersecurity or autonomous systems as something that is only within DoD. I think there's going to be a lot more of that as a growth component of DHS and Homeland Security defense work.
All right, we have time for a couple of more questions. As you can see, Anthony is the expert, so you want to utilize him while he's here.
There's a good question or a comment too in the chat that David put forth about the long-term play of autonomous systems. And, David, you cited that, yeah, they can be used in civilian lines of work too, farming and things like that. And yeah, there's a I'll put a plug in for a friend of mine's company. There's a company called Zeronox, ZERONOX.com, and they're out of Portersfield, California, and they're building all electric farm and kind of agricultural vehicles. But they're also looking in a similar way for DoD contracts. And so, yeah, that's going to be a big thing, I think, too, that's going to grow, is kind of this multi-use approach, that there can be use of these systems within a non-combat, non-defense sense, and then, of course, within a defense and a combat environment.
All right, we have time for one more question.
For those people that are wanting to go into these fields, the particular, I guess, the cybersecurity fields, and they are new to cybersecurity, what are some suggestions that you could give them other than the certifications? Like, how do they get the experience to get the job? Or is there a way that they can get the job and then get the experience? I have people ask me that all the time.
Yeah, that's definitely like one of those what comes first, chicken or the egg problem, and I think the best way to approach it is determining where the people are at within their career. If they're quite young and they can take an entry level role where they're going to learn mostly on the job, and they can, be guided to find a good mentor and help them chart their course professionally, there's a way you can kind of grow organically that works. Now, if you're in your 40s and you're not going to go look for an entry level job, it's a little bit more tricky how you're going to do the fancy footwork to navigate that. And I think part of it could be, well, let me put it this way. What I've seen others do sometimes is standing up their own consulting type of practice where they can do some cybersecurity on the side and have a little bit of side hustle in that way to try and build a brand, gain exposure, networking with possible employers. And sometimes that's a good way that you can couple good credentials and some experience with taking a calculated risk and trying to build your own brand and figure out how you can walk forward a strategic plan of either continuing with the consulting or trying to land something within a larger company.
All right, looks like we have 2 hands raised. You can go ahead and come off mute and ask your question.
Okay.
Hey,
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so I have a digital media background. I've built some websites. How does that carry over? Like, I'm not a programmer. I actually outsource that. But I have built some fairly complex systems. So I do understand like the structure. How does that fit into cybersecurity in any way within the Department of Defense?
Yeah, that's interesting. I think that there's a lot of systems that are growing within emerging defense tech and within cybersecurity where they're looking at visualization of battlefields and how to create different kind of augmented reality and different visualization of things. And I'm thinking of one company in particular, Allen Control Systems down in Austin, as an example, has these optical sensors that can connect onto existing munition systems, and it allows them to scan battlefields for drones and then in an automated way control the drones and kind of take them out. So as an example, oftentimes they're looking, companies like those that have systems that are wanting to implement augmented reality or different types of animation and media components to what they're doing for displaying the tech. That can kind of be an interesting way to look at how the battlefield's changing and where especially the smaller emerging middle-sized businesses are looking for leaning in on people that have a really specific expertise in an area like media and different types of animation work too. bring value to their components. But yeah, it's tricky to blend things that relate to art with defense in my expertise. That is definitely something that's not as clear a path forward.
But just to clarify, like, would it be safer to follow like a traditional IT path, like A+ and Security Plus, to try to get into cybersecurity, or is there a bridge for somebody that has a media background? Like, is there a coding language that you would recommend, or?
No, that's a really good question. I think the key is building continuity with what your strengths are personally and your experiences, so that when you go to apply to jobs and they're looking at that resume, you could walk them through a narrative of how this all relates. So, sometimes, making a very hard right turn, hard left turn on your resume and through trying to tool up a completely new skill set, try to find something that's going to dovetail into what you've done. So if you can get coding language down, or you can get something that you think will fit with what some of the top priorities or tech are, and it fits in with what you've done, I think that's going to give you both the fastest rate of absorption into the marketplace.
So Python is okay.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like something like that would be coming in over the target for you.
Thank you.
Sure.
All right, Kim, you had a question?
I wanted to add to the answer to the previous question a little bit, if you don't mind, Anthony. Getting in there organically to get into cybersecurity, you want to start networking definitely in your community, because 70 to 80% of hires come through networking. So when you start getting out into organizations, nonprofits like ISSA, ISC2, you start going to capture the flag events. You're building, and most of these events are free, so you're building the skills necessary to be effective in cybersecurity, and simultaneously you're also building the network, and that's important when it comes to starting to build your brand and finding employment in those areas, because you're going to eventually meet somebody who you like, who likes you, and then they end up referring you to somebody, and a lot of times that's how you get into that job.
Thank you, Kim. And before we close out this question answer session, I want to make sure we get Robert's question in the chat. And he said, do you see in the future more job opportunities in DoD or with companies affiliated with the government using AI and machine learning skills?
Yeah, I mean, I think that AI is always going to be kind of one of those things where, what does it end up really being? I mean, is this, 1999 and the tech bubble bursts and all those dog food companies didn't end up being really worth what the food was packaged, and it's tough to say. I think cutting edge is good. I think bleeding edge is too much, and I think right now, there's ways that we use AI that it's very valuable in a lot of ways, but I think that much of it still remains to be seen. And if it were me and I were looking at doing something with AI, I would lean in on one of the larger companies to kind of mitigate against the risk that a smaller company might not have the resources to do enough analytics that they can get it right. I think the larger companies naturally are going to have more to put in to making sure that the tech's implemented in a way that you can grow alongside them. So that would be how I hedge against risk and try to really move forward if that was an area I was interested in.
Thank you so much. I wish we could go on, but we gotta stay on schedule. I do recommend that you follow Anthony on LinkedIn as well as JOBSwithDOD. He posts daily and frequently with a lot of great updates. And there's also a lot of information. It's a wonderful newsletter that they put out every month. And we put their information in the chat so you can easily follow Anthony and JOBSwithDOD. And we really appreciate you, Anthony, for supporting V2I, number one, and then just also always giving out that information that we need to be successful.
No, I'm personally very thankful to all the veterans out there. I come from a family where, many of my uncles, my father all served, and thankful for all that you all have done. And that's a big part of why we're doing what we do. So just want to let you know we're here for you. And I know Carmen and her team are as well, and doing so many great things. So keep at it, and we'll all get it through the battlefield together.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And next up today, before we get to our sessions where we get to practice our elevator pitch, we're going to hear from our wonderful partner, Rapid Ascent. But first, we want our sponsor, who allows us to have these wonderful events, to share more information about their franchise program. It's a really wonderful opportunity that they have created for veterans. So I'm going to turn it over to Joel Stewart to share a little more.
Yeah, thank you, Carmen. We are 100% behind everything VETS2INDUSTRY is doing, and we are so happy to be here and talking with you guys. I see there's a lot of career seekers in here, so careers can go a lot of different ways, and I can tell you right now that the career that I'm currently in was not even on my radar when I was getting out of the military. Oh gosh, how long ago is it now? I guess it's been 12 years now. So when it comes to careers, I want to give the advice is to keep an open mind, and every place that you go, every job that you take is going to keep building that skill set. And it may take a little time for you to find something that you actually feel fulfilled doing. But it doesn't mean that any of the stuff you've done beforehand is wasted. I mean, as you get out into your careers, if you're currently transitioning, you're going to find that all the different experiences in the military that you had that you didn't think were going to apply to anything applies to everything. That's the way skills work. They all build on top of each other. So one opportunity that's out here for those of you that do have an interest in people more than things is Signal Health Group. So we are a nationwide franchise. We do in-home care. We do non-medical, medical, and hospice. And our goal is to make sure that our seniors are taken care of. Our company was founded back in 2012 because our CEO, Han March, she was volunteering in a nursing home, and she was just appalled at the way that seniors were being treated. And she set about trying to change the way that seniors are treated in their older years herself. And so she started this company, and we are looking for franchisees that want to get into senior care and home care. It's not always just seniors. And that could be you. So what we've done for veterans, because we are a huge veteran supporter. We financially support VETS2INDUSTRY substantially. We are financially supporting Post Veterati. We're working on getting that relaunched. We're doing a lot in the veteran community, but the closest thing to home for us is our franchisees. And so our program is that we 100% finance the franchise fee for veterans, as well as a couple other things. And we have no payments, no interest for 15 months. After that, it's a third of of the franchise fee spaced out over 12 months, and then 2/3 over the 12 months after that. So it's like a 3-year payback with no payments in the first year, then 1/3 and 2/3, all at no interest. And it's a way for you to, we built it so that people who are transitioning out of the military, it's within reach, because most franchise programs out there are very expensive, have very high financial requirements, and most people transitioning out of the military, even if they have the competence, if they have the drive, they have the desire, they don't have the financial wherewithal to launch into a franchise system. So we set about changing that. That was one of the first things when I came on as the director of franchise development for Signal Health Group that our CEO had me do. And I tried to put together something that was really unique in the franchise space, and I think we've done that. So if anybody out there is interested in getting into senior care and taking on a new mission to help our seniors, it really is a sacred trust. I mean, a lot of the times in our industry, if you don't show up, if someone from your organization doesn't show up to do the job they're supposed to do, those seniors may not eat. They may not be able to change their clothes. There's a lot of things that they may not be able to do that we all take for granted. And so we're looking for people that want to make a difference in people's lives and make a difference in the lives of our seniors. And if that's you, I hope that you'll reach out to me. I can drop my info in the chat after this. But yeah, senior care. You might not have thought about it before this very moment, but it could be something that you get an unexpected passion for, because what we do truly does make a difference in the lives of others. Thank you, Carmen.
Thank you, Joel. And we dropped your information in the chat, so please reach out to him if you're interested in that opportunity. And next up is the Executive Director of Rapid Ascent, our great partner, to share more information about their upcoming cybersecurity program cohort.
Thanks a lot, Carmen. I really appreciate it. And thanks for having me here. And I apologize, I'm in my truck right now, but don't worry, I'm not driving. So my name is Kim Archer. I'm the Executive Director here at Rapid Ascent. I'm a veteran and a military spouse, retired. It's really my passion to work with transitioning military spouses and family members to help them transition into cybersecurity. I am the ambassador for Mount Carmel Veterans Service Center here in Colorado Springs, as well as Veterans Beer Club. And I've worked with ISSA on their board before, so I do a lot of stuff in the community. And as I mentioned before, that networking piece is really important, and I'm sure you all have heard about that throughout this this program. Before I tell you a little bit more about our company, I did want to back up a little bit. Somebody had asked a question about certifications. You know, A+, Net+, Sec+ certifications for cybersecurity, that trifecta, is that necessary? And what I would say to that is having the knowledge is necessary. Having your A+, Net+, aren't as necessary. However, that Security Plus certification is crucial if you're looking at DoD work. It's that baseline certification that makes you marketable in DoD, and it's a requirement in any DoD cybersecurity position. So that Sec Plus is essential. Now going back to Rapid Ascent a little bit, we were actually created out of the need for hands-on training. So we focus on entry level to intermediate level cybersecurity training. Doesn't matter what your background is, doesn't matter what your MOS is. If you have the aptitude for cybersecurity, then we're going to help you get the apprentice style training, that hands-on, on-the-job type of training. And the way that we do that is we work with kind of the crawl, walk, run method, where you have a portion where you are working with a live instructor. When I say live, I mean on a computer. Everything is remote, but you're working with a live instructor to understand the fundamentals of cyber operations and then securing the enterprise. You'll have an opportunity to build your own secure operating system. You will learn how to defend your center. You will conduct scenario analysis on drones, satellites, and aircrafts. And then it's nice because you have the opportunity to learn several different areas of cyber. So you're learning threat hunting, risk assessment, network security, incident response, SOC engineering, and product security. And as you go through the program, you will get an understanding of that area that you enjoy the most. And then at the end of the program, you're going to do a deep dive into that specific area that you find interesting. So it's a lot of fun. One of our instructors is the lead threat hunter for the Army. Another one was with, rapidascent.com. Another one was with Cisco for over 10 years. And so they know a lot about IT and cybersecurity. Let's see, everything in our program has been vetted and approved by our employment partners, Boeing being one of our largest employment partners. They've vetted our program, they've approved our program, they've made sure that our curriculum is up to date and everything. And so when I want to step back a little bit, when I say crawl, walk, run, you're learning from the instructors, that hands-on portion. Then you are actually completing projects with coaches. And then you actually complete projects on your own. So it's really exciting. You do get a certification through the training. So you can either get your CompTIA Security Plus certification, or if you already have that, you would receive your CYSA Plus. And the best part is that it counts as 3 semesters of college. So you actually earn 30 college credits toward a cybersecurity degree. So that's really exciting. We have a couple of partners right now that we're working with as colleges. We're trying to expand on that as well to give you all different opportunities. Those credits are transferable. And so I want to say that generally speaking, when it comes to cybersecurity, hands-on training and certifications get you the job. A degree gets you more pay. Okay, generally speaking. Now, if you're looking at a DoD job and the job rec says it's required that you have a degree, that may be a requirement, but it also might be a check the box. Okay, and what I mean by that is sometimes when the contract is written, it's written in a way that says there must be, I'm just throwing out a number here, there must be 20 people in cyber that you hire that have a degree. Okay, so if Sam has 2 degrees and John has 0, they could potentially hire him utilizing that other degree, no matter what program it's in. Okay, some contracts are written that way. So I say that to say, don't not apply for a job that you may qualify for just because it says a degree is required, because that may just be a check the box type of thing. So that's kind of one tidbit as far as, you know, employment wise and resumes are concerned. We have our career service advisor, Sunny Schaefer. She works with our students weekly to help them with resumes, LinkedIn, behavioral and technical based interviewing skills, negotiating funds, and getting referrals. She's there to make sure that you guys stay on track, that you're getting everything you need to be marketable, and that when you are applying for positions, you are matching that job description. So she helps you with all of that. Every Friday, we have hiring managers come to our training, talk about open positions that they have available, as well as subject matter experts that talk about what they do on the job. So it's all about building that network, getting those connections, understanding the job market, and then getting you that education piece and then getting you in the door. So that's our program in a nutshell. I'm happy to answer any questions that anybody might have. And I'm here to help any way that I can. Yeah, go ahead, Alex.
Any thoughts about skipping A plus, Net plus, and going straight for Security Plus if you try to get certificates?
Yeah, absolutely. There's no need to get those 2 lower level because they're not a requirement, but you do need the knowledge. So, I mean, that's the baseline foundation knowledge. You do get that knowledge through our training. You can get it through YouTube videos as well, but the certifications themselves aren't necessarily going to help you with employment. They may in the private sector, in DoD sector, they're not going to help you because that Sec Plus is absolutely required.
Thank you.
But if you have the opportunity to get them for free already, you know, why not? But personally, that Sec Plus is the baseline.
And what's the difference between Rapid Ascent and A plus, Net plus, Security Plus? In terms of what? Is there a difference in Rapid Ascent's training versus Net plus, Security Plus, A plus?
No, you're talking certification versus training. So you're going to get the training. You're going to understand the fundamentals. A plus certification proves that you understand the fundamentals.
So you recommend a combination?
So you need to understand the fundamentals. You don't have to take the certification exam, is what I'm saying.
But the certification is a requirement for DoD work.
Only the Sec Plus, not A plus.
Okay, got it.
Any other questions?
Just to clarify, so it might be a good idea to take Rapid Ascent and then get a Security Plus to cover all your bases.
So yeah, you'll get your Security Plus voucher through our training.
Right, but you want to get that certificate in addition to the Rapid training.
Correct, yeah. So the training is going to help you understand how to pass the exam, understand how to do the job, make you marketable, and then you'll get the voucher and then you'll take the test. So the Security Plus is just a test.
Got it.
And then you get that certification. But the training helps you understand how to do the job and also pass the test. So when you look at us versus other training programs, a lot of boot camps, if you will, they help you learn how to pass the test, and then they'll give you the certification. So basically, you take a class, you learn how to pass the exam, and then you get a list of certifications. Ours is a little bit different because we teach you how to do the job, and then, you know, there's a week we're helping you pass the test, but our primary goal is to help you understand how to do the job the first year. And I know that, you know, in a lot of cases, that's been a big concern for DoD organizations, because they were at one time hiring people because they had the cert. But the problem is they were having to train them and to teach them how to actually do the job. So that became a big issue. So, you know, there was a need for teaching somebody how to do that job the first year. Great question, though. Any other questions?
I got a question.
Yes, please.
When is your next class for this?
Yeah, so we actually have one starting on Monday. If you, it does take GI Bill, so it's about 4.5 months of GI Bill. Or if you have at least a 10% disability, you can utilize VR&E funds. We also have some scholarship opportunities. So actually, I'm doing scholarships right now. So if you are interested in getting in on our April 7th cohort, and the scholarships are on a needs basis. So if you are in need of funding, then I'm going through that right now. So send me an email, karcher@rapidascent.io. Let me know you're interested. And basically all I ask is that you complete our Jumpstart pre-training. And what that is the last thing I want is for anybody to start to get into an industry, do training, you know, dedicate your time and money and effort, and then not like it. So maybe you think cyber's right for you, but you're not really sure. I hate for you to get into a program and then say, you know what, this isn't right for me. So we've created a platform called Jumpstart. It's about 6 to 8 hours of cybersecurity pre-training. So it helps you understand the terminology. It helps you understand how critical language and math apply to cybersecurity. And there's an interview section. Any of you can take it. You don't even have to do our program. You can take it if you'd like. It's 100% free. You would just create an account with us. You go to rapidascent.com. You click on the Get Started button, and then you just fill out your basic profile. Once you log into your account, there's going to be a My Training tab, and you'll see Jumpstart in there. So I encourage any of you to do that, see if cyber's right for you. And if you decide you want to do the program, then that's a different conversation. But it's a good starting point just to see if it's something that you're interested in.
One more question, ma'am.
Mm-hmm.
Say I did a program, got a cybersecurity certificate of completion, but I haven't been able to get a job because I don't have Security Plus and none of that stuff. Is your program still something good for me to get into?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. And also, there's some other programs that you can get free certifications. Onward to Opportunity is one of them. You can get a free certification. And Act Now Education, ACT, Act Now Education is another one. They're both nonprofits for veterans. And I know for Act Now, you have to do an orientation, and it's on a Saturday. So every Saturday they do orientations. They have a huge list of resources and stuff. So it's a great site. And then, and I saw Carmen just posted Onward to Opportunity with Syracuse University. Great program. Yeah, you can get your PMP through there. You can get different cybersecurity certifications. So both of those are great free programs. But yeah, our program is great for, absolutely. Ours is great for intermediate, entry level, or intermediate. And the way that works is, for example, the first month of the class is foundations. Okay, so let's say maybe your background's Intel or SATCOM, and you already know the foundations. We couple that with your online labs that you're doing, those projects you're doing on your own, and they are separated by level. So level 1 if you're at a level 1, you're entry level, you're doing level 1 projects. If you're at a level 2 or level 3, you're doing higher level projects. So that's how it's able to work for anybody at whatever level you are. And then, and so when it comes to your clearance, if I want to kind of talk about pay a little bit, average pay, let's say you are prior military, you have a secret security clearance, and then you just do our training, our hands-on training, the average pay is about 80,000. Okay, I pulled some numbers for our students, regardless of their clearance level, but all prior military. And the average for our students is 97,000, the average pay. Now, let's say you have a TSSCI, maybe you have a little bit of background, but not a lot. Maybe you're an Intel analyst. That's more on the 130 range. So you're looking at 6 figures in that case. And the reason for that is because a lot of those DoD organizations, they would rather hire somebody with a higher level degree and then train them because it's cheaper, as opposed to having to pay to get them a higher level clearance level. So a lot of good information. Please feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn, and it's Kimberly-Archer. I'm happy to answer any questions. Also, I have a lot of great resources through my LinkedIn account. So hiring managers, lots of cyber people and things like that. That'll open up your network a little bit more. And also I'm there to answer questions, mentor. If somebody needs a mentor, I'm happy to do that as well. Like I said, I do a lot of volunteer work. Thanks, Carmen. My link is in the chat there. And so, yeah, I'm here for you no matter what. My purpose is to make sure that you guys are taken care of. I did see a hand. Any other questions? But I think it went down.
It was me, ma'am. So my question is, if let's say you already have done a Sec Plus course, but you want the hands-on experience in the voucher, help with the voucher in terms of for the actual test, are you guys allowing someone or people to come into the program or join it if they, let's say, taken the course, but they haven't done the certification, but they also want the hands-on experience? Is that something possible?
Absolutely. Highly encourage that. In fact, we have a lot of people go through our training who need that hands-on experience, and that's what we focus on. So absolutely.
Thank you.
Mhm. Great questions. Keep them coming.
I have one quick question. Can y'all hear me, please?
Yep, go ahead.
Yes, I already have a Sec Plus and a CND and CA. I'm just looking for a job. How does that?
Do you have a clearance?
Yeah, secret.
Okay. What I would say to you is start networking in your community, building that network of connections. Start meeting people, especially for you individuals who are introverts. I know that's super hard, but get out there because networking is really the way to go. I mean, think about it this way. When there's a job, let's say on with any big company, let's just use Northrop or Boeing or Lockheed Martin. Okay, they get hundreds of applicants. Okay, so first of all, if your resume does not meet the keywords in that applicant tracking system, even if you 100% meet the qualifications for that job, let me give you an example. Let's say the job, so hiring manager or the recruiter, first of all, the recruiter is the one that's vetting people, okay? They don't always know the job. So let's say the baseline requirement is your CompTIA Security Plus certification. And you can't have a job without that. But let's say you have a CISSP, which for those of you who are cybersecurity people, you know that a CISSP is a higher level and you absolutely qualify, but the recruiter doesn't know that. So they don't see the Sec Plus. So now they think that you don't qualify. So they're going to pass you up. You're never going to get that job, even though you're at a higher level certification. Okay, so that could be a problem for you and why you're not getting the job. So now if you start networking in the community, you're meeting people and then they think, oh, so and so would be a perfect fit for this job, I'm going to refer them. Not only are they referring you, they're getting some money because they referred you, but now you got a leg up because they're already in that company and they referred you, so now they want to talk to you personally. So those are going to open up some doors for you. Go on LinkedIn, ask, find recruiters, ask great questions like, I saw this position was available. Never ask, hey, what kind of jobs do you have available? Or how do hey, can I get an interview? Don't ask questions like that, but be more in depth and thorough in those questions. Ask questions like, hey, what's the culture like within your company? I'm very interested in working for this company. I just want to know what the culture's like. Or what kind of specific things are you looking for on a specific resume? What's the resume format? Everybody's going to have a different outlook on what a resume looks like. I'm going to tell you right now, your resume should meet your personality, but you should qualify for that job in the very first paragraph. That summary section right there, because it's only going to take a recruiter a couple seconds to look at, you should qualify. If it requires a clearance level, if it requires a certification, that should be in that baseline paragraph there. Okay, so qualify immediately. Go ahead, Alex.
Just a question about clearances. So assuming any of us get riffed, how long does our clearance stay active?
It depends on the clearance level. So I know that your Sec Plus is 5 years. I think your TSSCI is maybe 2 or 3 years, something like that. I'm not exactly sure. Maybe somebody else knows the answer to that.
Secret was SecTI, is that right? A secret clearance.
I'm sorry, say again.
A secret clearance. You said for a year. What is what you think?
I think it's 5 years. Correct me if I'm wrong. Anybody on here?
It's 10 years.
It is, yep.
But it exists even though you're not federally employed for 5 or more years.
I believe it there's different levels. So like it completely shuts off after 5 years, but after 2 years, I think it's just like reserve or something like that. I don't know the wording for it, but I don't know exactly. But what I would say to those questions is that is a great thing to go online and find somebody who specializes in that and ask them the question. Like go onto LinkedIn and somebody could answer that question for you.
And how important are clearances when getting a job in cybersecurity?
It depends on the job. It depends on the company. It depends on what you're doing. So if you're looking at like Jacobs, Lockheed Martin, generally you have to have a clearance level for cyber position, but that's not always true. Also, if you don't have a clearance level and the job description says able to obtain, then that means that they will help you get a clearance.
All right, and we want to leave it open for one more question before we wrap it up, so we can stay on schedule. So if anybody has one more question.
Carmen, I just wanted to add that the clearance longevity is based on the last time you were investigated. So that puts a date in the system. And then, so anybody who's getting out, can you ask that they refresh that date or whatever so that it lasts, just in case you don't want to do a clearance job, but then you always have it available to you, say 1 year in and you're not getting employed, and then you can go back.
Thank you, Dan. Well, thank you, Kimberly. I know how hard it is for you to have time on a Saturday, so I feel really blessed that you were able to share with us. Please reach out to Kimberly on LinkedIn. We'll put her information in the chat again. And also, we shared some flyers from Rapid Ascent with some QR codes that you can scan for more information. But thanks so much.
Yeah, thanks, Carmen. If I'm able to help one person, it makes me happy. So please connect with me on LinkedIn, and thank you all for having me.
Thank you. Bye. And now I'll turn it over to Matthew so we can go to the next session of our circuit.
Good afternoon, everybody. So my name is Matthew Lee. The next portion right now is recruiters. So any recruiters, please raise your digital hand and we'll call you for about maybe 1 to 2 minutes. Just give a brief overview about your company, what you're trying to provide, and how people can reach out to you. So please, any recruiters out here, raise your digital hand. We'll give you a call. So just waiting on your digital hand. All right, Kimberly Schultz.
Hi, everyone. It's good to see some of you, my friends here. So I'm Kimberly Schultz. I'm with Revolution Financial Management. For those of you who don't know, I actually did the Financial Literacy Webinar 101 earlier this month. So that's the industry, which I know we had a lot of great outcome and feedback from that. We are going to be doing that quarterly too. So if you guys missed that, we are going to be doing that once a quarter, which is awesome. For anybody that doesn't know, what we do is we teach families how to become financially free and independent. We do everything from teaching them how to get out of debt, helping them save if they need to buy a house in the future. That's another one. We do retirement planning and we do the life insurance aspect of it. So we are looking for good people who genuinely want to help others. We're in a huge expansion mode right now. We do cover all 50 states and you don't have to have a finance background. So if anybody is interested in even the finance industry as a whole, I'm really here to be a resource for you guys, even if it's just questions you have for me. And then you would need to get a license, which our company does help with that. So if you know of anybody that genuinely wants a good, rewarding career, you can do it part-time as well if you're looking for another stream of income. We do teach that too. So if anyone just wants to connect, I am a big supporter for VETS2INDUSTRY. We are working on planning an in-person Houston event here too for V2I. So we're really excited about that, but I'm here to support you guys. So even if you just want to network or you need resources, I'm happy to help. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thank you, Kimberly. I see, Heather, that you're off mute.
Yeah, I just can't seem to figure out where to get that little yellow hand that Kimberly figured out. Sorry about that, but thanks so much again for putting this all together. And this networking event is amazing. I will tell you that CSA has hired 2 people from these very events. So 2 veterans are sitting on our CSA team because of all the hard work from this team. So thank you so much. Client Solution Architects is a mid-sized company, and we work very closely with our DoD. We also do bidding on contracts, not as big as the Booz Allens of the world, but we are growing, and I'm super excited to lead the veteran and military spouse outreach at CSA. I did drop my information in the chat, but would love for you to follow us because we are presently sitting at 53% veteran and military spouse hired to date, and we're not done by a long shot, not even close. So bring those clearances, bring that Security Plus, bring all of your experience in operations, logistics. We also have OCONUS roles. We're presently hiring in Italy and Germany right now. So if you're joining us from overseas, we have a beautiful, beautiful conduit over there to help you with overseas employment. So I'm excited about that. And of course, in Bavaria and in Grafenwehr, Hohenfels, that's where we have a lot of our work right now. So we're really excited. And then also we have an amazing referral bonus program, and we all love to help our fellow shipmates. I say that because I'm prior Navy, but we know that they're also transitioning. So we will make it rain for you if you want to refer someone to any of our open jobs, because if they get hired, you get paid. And so I'm really excited for you to check us out. Happy to chat with you, happy to mentor you, whatever you need, first and foremost. And I do know that Matthew and Carmen know this about me, but there's a family I was born into, and there's a family that I was sworn into. So you got me, you're stuck with me. I'm not letting you get rid of me. If there's anything I can do to help you, I truly mean that. So thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Heather. So I also see Robert Corgi. I don't know if you're available right now to be able to speak to as well, but what you have available. Don't know if he's here right now. Any other recruiters available? Please raise your digital hand. We'll give you a call. Robert's back yet? If not, we can always move on to the next thing, which would be breakout rooms. So before we go to breakout rooms, I'll play a video, but I just want to give everybody, any other recruiters, a chance within 30 seconds. Unmute yourself, raise your digital hand, so I can call on you. If not, we'll just have a little bit of uncomfortable silence. All right, I'm gonna play this video so we can, I don't want to waste any more time. This video will just give a little introduction exactly what's going to go on with the breakout rooms. I'm going to go ahead and get that ready. While I get that ready, if anybody wants to unmute themselves and talk about any businesses or anything at the moment, while I get this put together, that way. If not, just make sure this works. All right, so I'm about to play this video quick, just giving you a brief introduction exactly on the breakout rooms. Just gonna mute that real quick. Yeah, so this is just to help you prepare for the breakout rooms. If you can see the screen, so just make sure your camera's on when you're in the breakout rooms, because there'll be at least 5 or 6 of you. Just make sure you're named correctly, that you're career seeker, your recruiter, or somebody. But so if you meet new contacts, make it easy. Try to organize everything. Make sure when you're in the breakout room, when you're in breakout rooms, make sure you share your elevator pitch in 30 to 60 seconds. Your name, who you are, what you're trying to find. Share your resources in the breakout rooms. Make it easy. Anybody put in the chat. Make sure you save the chat because it'll disappear. Take pictures in the breakout rooms and share it on social media. That way everybody knows you're here at the VETS2INDUSTRY events, and we're here to you're here to get information or help people out. So that's just very helpful to do. Send new connections, personalize those invitations. It helps to have an personalization. Say where you're meeting that person at. So say that you met here at the VETS2INDUSTRY virtual networking event. That way they know you and can find you if they want to build something. And then just take your time to build these new relationships, because it all can help out, get you. You're like everybody was saying, networking is very important. It gets you to your new position. A lot of the jobs I got in positions after the Marine Corps was through networking. So utilize these free resources. There's plenty out there, vetsindustry.org, and the ones we talk about. So a lot of this was posted on the LinkedIn, so make sure you go on the LinkedIn page and understand what's going on. We post a lot of information there about our events, about everything that goes on, especially on our website. So I will go ahead and start sending everybody to your breakout rooms. I just need to fix a few things over here real quick. All right, so
can everybody do the code letters? I see a lot of people haven't done that yet.
Yeah, make sure you're when you get to breakout rooms, you do the change your name of the code letters to what what you saw, and you can your facilitators can help you out in the rooms. Make sure you have the right right code name. So I'm just going ahead and breakout rooms are 25 minutes. You will automatically rub back here or when we close the room. So I'm gonna send you to the rooms in 3, 2, 1.
And I'll turn it back over to Matthew.
Thank you, Carmen. Yeah, so if you didn't catch any of that, you should be able to see all that on the website and also on the LinkedIn page. There's definitely a lot. So welcome back from the break and breakout rooms. Next portion of this event will be for the veterans, service members, or military spouses that want to be able to give their 30-second elevator pitch just to the whole group here in one setting, to have everybody provide feedback or opportunities for you for what you could do. So this is a great time to do it. Just so make sure you raise your digital hand and I'll call on you. And I know after the first breakout room, everybody's still trying to put together their still put together their elevator pitches. But just, like I said, it's 30 seconds. Everybody here in the room, just raise your hand. We'll provide feedback as much as we can to try to make this going. But just a quick example for myself, these events have been very helpful in my transition from the Marine Corps in 2021. So right now I'm currently with the Department of State, Civil Service Foreign Affairs Officer position should be up, soon enough in December if funding doesn't go through. But I was a Department of Defense contractor before, fellowship on the Hill, and then 20 years Marine Corps. But like I said, all these events were greatly helpful, and I continue to give back here to VETS2INDUSTRY as much as I can to try to support everybody else that try to support everybody that needs it. So I see Trevor, you have your hand up.
Sure, I'll be the first one to go.
All right, take it away.
All right, I'm Trevor. I am a project manager with over 10 years of experience. I focus on using analysis and process improvement to make the process better as I'm managing projects. I've worked in a variety of industries from healthcare to IT to security. Got all the certifications that you need after my name and an MBA, and I'm currently working on a second master's in organization development and change. Not as polished as I usually do, I'm sorry.
No, it's all good. Any here want to provide feedback to Trevor or anything? I know you talked to a lot of other recruiters or people in the chat and in the breakout room. I'm sure they provided assistance. I know definitely talk to Robert Corgi if you haven't never got a chance to. He has a lot of resources he can provide you your way.
Yeah, I've talked to Robert.
Okay. And then, yeah, don't forget the other organizations out there that will provide. Yeah, there's a lot of information out there. So, anybody else want to provide anything else to Trevor?
If you have a current clearance, I would probably, I would add that.
I do
because,
not.
Okay, but did you?
Last time, my clearance investigation has expired. I know that because when I moved to Kentucky 5 years ago, Booz Allen sponsored my clearance.
Oh, okay. Okay, thanks.
All right, Christopher, I see your hands up.
Hello, I'm Chris from Philadelphia, Navy veteran, both active and reserves, and a recent graduate with a master's in IT auditing and cybersecurity. I have over 20 years of administrative experience and currently work as a clerical assistant in the vocational rehabilitation industry. Although I don't have work experience in the IT field, I wish to utilize my administrative and academic skills into an entry-level cybersecurity role where I can gain hands-on experience and advance in my career.
I have a recommendation. If you haven't heard it from the others already, I would find volunteer opportunities to practice that cyber IT skills, because then you can count that as part of your experience for your resume and when you interview.
I received that, but I'm looking into that as well. Appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you for Christopher for sharing, and also Teresa for that insight.
Oh wait, I want to say something. I'm sorry. I was eating popcorn and I didn't want to.
Thank you.
I put in, because what Teresa's saying is correct. I put in the chat an NCL Cyber Skyline is doing a CTF where you can go in there, have some fun with IT and cyber, and kind of learn what you already know, what you need to know, and what you want to do later. Okay. Registration is open until April 1st. You have time to mess around in their gymnasium. Then the actual competition starts. You can do it individually. You can stay in the gymnasium. You can move around that platform however you want. But while that's happening, they also have something for Spirit Week. I put all the details in the chat. So I think that'd be great for you, right? because at the end of it, they give you a scouting report to let you know what your skill sets are, where you might need to learn, you know what I mean? And those things you can also put in your resume as well. That you've done such and such for this or something like that. Just to give you a little bit more experience for your resume. Does that make sense? Do you know what you want to do in cyber?
I'm looking into SOC analysts.
Okay.
Yeah.
What tools have you used?
Well, I've been looking at videos, YouTube videos.
Okay. Okay, so that's another thing, right? Start getting to know the tools that are used in cyber. Look, you know, do a Google search on that type of stuff. And then see when you see the tools, see which one of those tools are free to learn. Right? You always want to go the free route first for anything, but that way, that's something else you can put in your resume. You learned how to you use Splunk to do this, to learn about that. Okay. I'm gonna tell you now, I'm in cyber. The competition is fierce, even at the entry level. And someone said it earlier: network, volunteer, join organizations, talk about it on LinkedIn, make your own website, make your own projects, and put on your website. Yeah, that's how people are going to see who you are. Okay. Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mira, for sharing that. Is there anybody else that'd like to share as well? Please.
Yeah, I want to talk about variety in a person's voice, and I want to tell you about a really wonderful resource called Toastmasters. Okay, Christopher, your voice is very monotone. There was no diversity in your voice, so you need to look at a wonderful organization called Toastmasters. They'll help you with your impromptu speaking. They'll also help you with getting feedback on your voice. I'm sure you got a dynamic voice, but it was not dynamic when you did your elevator pitch. Does that make sense?
Yes. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank
My
you.
pleasure. Happy to help. Hope you'll connect with me. You can find me on LinkedIn. Daniel Collins knows me very well, so happy to be a help.
I'll connect with you. Thank you. Appreciate that.
My pleasure.
Great encouragement, Matt. Thank you for sharing that. And let's go with, was it Raymond German? You had your hand up?
Yes, I did. And I will try to have a dynamic voice here today. Another organization you can use is called ASAP, and they have a storytelling workshop. But that's not why I'm here today. I'm here because I am a 20-year Marine Corps veteran. I worked in the legal services industry. I did AKA paralegal. I worked for 200 Marine Corps judge advocates worldwide. And when I retired in 2020, I got 2 remote jobs. So pandemic was good to me. Unfortunately, one job was seasonal. I did it for 2 seasons with the combined federal campaign. And then the other job was division finance as their legal operations assistant. They were bought by a bank. And once they were bought by a bank, I learned about mergers and acquisitions with my position being eliminated. I was unemployed for a few months, was hired by a Marine judge advocate, Chad Maloney. He worked for a law firm out of Westchester, Pennsylvania. I was able to work for him remotely, and we worked specifically on the Camp Lejeune water contamination cases. It was important to me to give back to veterans that had served and that were, affected by the water contamination. And having been stationed at Camp Lejeune, it was also important to me. But that contract ended, and I am now actively and aggressively looking for work in Menifee, California. So I'm kind of too far for San Diego, too far for Orange County. I would love remote work, but I am willing to drive to make that commute, and open to any roles in the legal industry, which supports every industry. So Yeah, that's me in a nutshell. Thanks, guys and gals.
Thank you, Raymond, and Semper Fi. I was also Marine Corps, and thank you for sharing. Is there anybody that want to share regards to Raymond?
Ray, Ray, got a question. Okay. You're you work for the SGA, the Staff Judge Advocate. So you were a claims adjudicator, is that correct?
Yes, we process claims that were sent over to the Department of the Navy for processing. I've reviewed those claims, and that's what the claim was for the Camp Lejeune water contamination case. It's actually helping clients file their claim, and then now it's stuck in some type of litigation. Yeah, in Eastern District of North Carolina, and yeah.
So the question I have, which you caught me when you said Camp Lejeune and the legal claims, we all know about that. So your role as a Marine, no longer wearing the uniform, because I'm careful because you Marines get on me. Oh, I'm never retired. I'm once a Marine, always Marine. The point I'm trying to make is you like working with claim settlement, and you did that in the Marine Corps.
See, I like servicing the veterans that had served. That was my purpose for that last job. As far as what I do in legal, to me, my main role is to make an attorney's lives easier. So if I'm supporting an attorney that's working in family law, adoption, divorce, I could do that. I did it in the corporate sense of working for a finance industry and working in legal operations, which is many different departments within that their in-house legal team. So yeah, I have a wide variety of places where I've worked, and that I think my knowledge, skills, abilities, testify to that, to being able to support attorneys in that way.
Okay, well, just a question. I think that I would be focusing on your skills with settling claims and helping people with getting the money they deserve. So one of the things that I know from talking to lawyers, I'm not a lawyer, but I've worked for several of them, is they want people that can help report the number of claims that have been settled when they have a major lawsuit. So I would be looking at that as a resource. And as a retired Air Force guy, I'll say Semper Fi.
Thank you. My brother was an airman.
Thank you, Matt, for sharing. And Raymond.
I have one more.
Sure.
Raymond, I'm actually in San Diego, in the San Diego area, and I need to connect you with this lawyer who I know. She is a male spouse who I connected with, just networking. So I highly recommend network. And her name is Alicia Bond, Bond. She is on LinkedIn. Just mentioned that I referred you to her through V2I, and just connect with her. She's working for a law firm. It's a shot in the dark, but who knows?
Okay, thank you. Next up, Jake, please share.
Hi, I'm just gonna throw my elevator pitch out there, if I may. So my name is Jacob Granzo. I am a 6-year Army veteran with a active security clearance, former TS SCI. I am fully clearable to that level. I was in military intelligence as an Arabic linguist, and I am seeking Arabic linguist roles once again in the cleared space. Thank you very much.
Does anybody want to speak with Jake and share their insight?
Yes, I have a question for you, Jake.
Yes,
you're
sir.
fluent in Arabic, correct?
Yes, sir.
Now, do you know how to deal with that culture? Have you been in country in Saudi Arabia or other places, that are?
I deployed one time. I deployed one time to Iraq. I have many friends who are from that part of the world. Various degrees of interaction with them. when I was at DLI learning Arabic, they not only immersed us in the language, but also in the culture and kind of cultural sensitivity and awareness training and things like that.
Okay, I think that's an attribute that you should put in your LinkedIn profile and also in your keyword section of your profile.
Perfect. Thank you. I hadn't thought of that. I will add that in. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Would you be
Anybody?
willing to deploy again? Just because I know there's still open roles out there. Somebody reached out to me. This was earlier on in my transition, but I just came back from LUD and I was like, oh, no, I don't think so. But there
Yeah,
are roles like that still exist.
Right. Ideally, no, just because I'm at a different stage in my life. But you know, ideally, no. I would like to ultimately wind up at Augusta, Georgia, where my last duty station was. So that's kind of my goal.
Yeah, I get it. Copy.
Thank you, Jake, for sharing. Is there anybody else that would like to share their 30-second elevator speech and an opportunity to inspire the room with your story? I know it's sometimes a little intimidating, but you can actually just make an imprint with anybody here today. And I know I've been inspired with all the people that spoke today, and it's also sharing feedback. But if you haven't, or if you already have in the rooms, please fare the share also in the large room, and let's see how we can help you today. We got Amanda.
Hi, I'm Amanda. I am currently in Clarksville, Tennessee. I am ideally looking for a remote position. I'm a military spouse, and there's a possibility that we will be moving around a lot in the next 5 years. So I'm wanting to utilize my education in, I have a master's in nonprofit management and public administration. I have experience being in a lot of administrative roles, like executive assistants to C-levels and things like that. I'm really good at organizing other people, maybe not myself. I currently work as an activities director in long-term care for people with dementia. I've been doing that for the last 5 years, and I'm really ready to get out of that patient-facing space and get into a more administrative role that hopefully lines up with my passion for helping vulnerable populations, gives me fulfillment, and pays me what I think I'm worth.
Wow, amazing. Thank you for sharing that. It's absolutely beautiful work. I understand working with personnel with dementia. I did that in food service part a few years ago. Is there anyone here that can speak with Amanda and share some insights?
So I just sent a message on there, but I was looking earlier this week and somebody sent me that the Wounded Warrior Project and Habitat for Humanity were looking for people that had nonprofit experience. So there was stuff like program management, and then there was a bunch of relational type helping provide services or getting people to services and directing people to resources or families. So both of those had remote positions available.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that.
Sure.
Thank you,
I
David.
don't know if they do remote work, but USA Cares is a nationwide organization that focuses on keeping vets in their house. Their corporate headquarters are here in Louisville, but I know they've got offices at all major bases around the country.
Great info. Thank you, Trevor. Let's go with Alex Sebi. Please share. Alex, I think you're muted.
Sorry about that. Hi, my name is Alex Sebi. I currently work at the Quantico Marine Corps Base. Aside from being interested in cybersecurity, I'm also very passionate about web development. My hobby project, which I've mentioned once or twice, is wordsofveterans.com. It's a combination of military history and current web development. If you're at all interested, please have a look. I'm telling you that the website's really cool. It has an AI functionality. It does print on demand book generation. So it frankly is way beyond any other military website that I'm aware of at the moment. So please have a look if you don't mind. Thank you.
Thank you, Alex. Robert Myers.
Oh, hi, everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Robert Myers, and I'm a Navy veteran. Did over 20 years in the Navy, all in healthcare space. Several years of healthcare administration and management experience. I work currently now for the VA doing data analytics. So I have a little over 2 years experience in data analytics, and I'm skilled in Python, SQL, Tableau, Pyramid Analytics, and Excel. My education is in bachelor's degree is in healthcare administration and master's in healthcare administration, and I have a doctorate in business administration. My certifications are in data analytics, Lean Six Sigma, and Scrum. And so I'm looking for positions in data analytics, data science, but I've also taken some cyber classes in Linux, as well as CompTIA A+ and Sec+. Thank you.
Thank you, Robert. Does anybody like to share with Robert any tools or insights? Okay. Is there anybody else here that would like to share their 30-second elevator speech or share any information? You got the floor.
Jen, I, as you can tell by my throat, I got a really bad cold, but I do want to tell everybody, and I will tell you that Daniel Collins has been a frequent contributor to our website, which is called the Military Transition Resources and Calendar. That's miltrack.org. And on there, you'll find a bunch of information from what I call vetted transition experts. In other words, they've been there, got the t-shirt and got the blood stain. So we publish people that we know are really leaders in the industry in all forms of transition, not only people with military backgrounds like Daniel, but also others that are not military, because one of the things that I really believe in is you need a diversity of people that you need to contact. You know, most of the military guys that I know, when they first get out, they reach out to their fellow military professionals, but they don't reach out to people in the industry. So whatever industry you're looking at, there's a nonprofit organization that would welcome you. So that's my 5 cents. I'm gonna take some cold medicine. I hope to join you guys soon for the next one. Daniel Collins, I owe you a phone call, and I'm gonna say adios, adiamo. Thanks for letting me be part of this.
Matt, thank you for coming today and for your time and your insights and your tools to share with the team here. It was very nice to meet you and hope to continue to talk with you more on more of these calls. Thank you for coming.
Looking forward to it. Thank you.
Hope you feel better.
It
I hope so
appears
too.
that Matt is who is the LinkedIn for military author. He wrote the book on how to do LinkedIn for the military. He's now going to do a video if you send him an email. So be a part of his next iteration of his book.
Wow, incredible. Thank you, Dan.
Yeah. And I got a whole bunch of, just listening to you guys today, has given me a whole bunch of ideas on connections. So thank you, Daniel. Let me know when the next one is, and I will not only be there, but I will also post it so people can see it on the Milltrack calendar. Jan, thank you for being a great moderator.
Yeah,
Oh,
thank you.
thank you, sir. I'm looking forward to connecting with you.
All right, andiamo.
Bye. Okay. Anybody else that would like to share and inspire? It's not too late. We got a few more minutes. Anyone that hasn't shared that, don't be shy. I know it's a little interesting, but please share with us.
Well, one thing I wanted to share is there are so many resources out there for networking. And, we talk about networking, and I've written extensively about this on LinkedIn, but it's more than networking, it's relationship building. When we as vets talk to another vet, after 5 minutes, the pleasantries are done. You don't need to sell yourself. You start talking to people, and I've had probably about 50 conversations this year with people. And the one thing that everyone always tells me is pay it forward when you can. And having these conversations with people will always be something of value. And use the resources around you. Use the people on this call. Use the people on Post Veterati that are on there, because they're there for a reason, and it's not because they're bored.
Thank you, Trevor. That is so important. I remember back in November, I came on this V2I, and I had no idea of what this was all about, or even how to network virtually. And I tell you, just being close to my fellow comrades of the service, and even within the connections I made within the civilian sector, and that transition has done numerous things for me, and also in boosting my self-confidence, which I felt I lost coming into the civilian sector during that transition. So this has been so inspiring, and it continues to grow, and we can encourage you, if you didn't get anything on this first one, that you continue to network, not on just platform, but other platforms as well, and connect and talk, and it's just been really helpful. David, you have your hand up.
Yeah, I put it up just because everybody else was quiet. So I was echoing what Trevor said. That is true, that the mentors are there specifically to help. So take advantage of it. Not only can they advise you, but they can also tell you, what areas in those fields that you might think you want to be in. Because like cybersecurity is a huge field, and there are a lot of specialties that you can choose from, and pick a couple people that are in different areas and see which one sounds the best. The last thing you want to do is start going down one place because you're like, this is what I want to do, and you get there and it's like, this job sucks. Right? Then you got to go back. Or if you did the zigzag, you're like, I want to do this. No, I want to do that. So like those of you that were in college, you might have said, oh, I'm going to be pre-med. Then you hit that first chemistry class and you're like, oh, shoot, going to criminology. So yes, but
thank you, David.
Yes, that's
Thank
it for
you.
me. I did want to do my elevator pitch. I never did it.
Oh,
I never
go
got
for
a
it.
chance because I was talking. But so I am in Tampa, Florida, and I am a technical project manager in the cybersecurity field, specializing in the implementation and solutioning of premise-based firewalls and cloud-based firewalls. Also do network infrastructure upgrades and SaaS app integration. So I'm currently looking for a position either in the Tampa area or remote.
Thank you, David, for sharing. If anyone has any information to share with David, please feel free to share, or even in the chat.
I'd like to get Jody to connect with David. Jody is looking to transition to Tampa, Florida, but he's not in Tampa at the moment.
I put a message directly under that one saying, hey, you're coming to my world.
Yes, I will connect and DM David. Thank you,
Okay.
Dan.
Okay. Well, thank you, everyone. I'm going to move forward into our next part of our agenda. It is for veteran service organizations and education. Is there anyone here that can share with us? If you are, please raise your hand. Any veteran service organizations and for education? Okay. Does anybody here know of any and would like to share?
Sure. I'll put a
Sure,
plug for my
I can
organization that I volunteer for. It's called VETS2INDUSTRY.org. In addition to that one, though, I am the CFO for an organization called it's the number 10, CAN.org. And this one is a little different because it's for mental health things and whatnot, as something that's important to those that are seeking jobs, those are not. You know, sometimes it's a stressful thing. And if you're looking for a way to get out of the house, do some hunting or fishing, look it up. We are nationwide. Started out in Florida and we're opening up chapters throughout the US. It's the number 10, CAN.org.
Thank you, David. Is there anyone else that would like to share?
I wanted to share the hiring our heroes. That's where I got my skill bridge from, and actually ended up networking with Booz Allen. So that was my first job. And that's how I found them. That's how they found me, is through hiring our heroes. So I definitely recommend that group. And then for my resume, I used hireheroesusa.org. Free resume.
That's a great resource. I know that there's several people transitioning that needs help on resume support, and that's an awesome one to share. Thank you, Teresa. I was gonna ask Robert Corky. We kind of missed you earlier, and we saw you come back. Would you please share with us some insights with your organization, please?
Hey, good afternoon. My name's Robert. I work for Hyundai Motor America out in California. I support Hyundai's 15 different companies, basically. We have everything from IT, finance, cybersecurity. We have an aviation drone program. We have the new building that just opened up in Savannah, Georgia, which I guess is technically Elabelle because that's their mailing address. And then we have the Montgomery and the West Point, Georgia site. Hyundai does a lot of everything. You know, on top of the dealership, there's, over 1,000 dealerships, but then we have the corporate stuff. I could assist you in finding jobs or at least networking within those organizations. I can't just have you tell me, hey, I applied for a Hyundai job because I won't know where. You got to tell me which one you applied for after you do your research. Then I can forward your resume up to the hiring managers on your behalf. What I also do too is I will email you if you connect with me contacts other organizations. I should be caught up with my emails by now because I've been traveling a lot. But I will email you a 70-page document of contacts to other companies. So if you were looking to network with like General Dynamics or Raytheon or Lockheed Martin, I got those contacts on that sheet. I also have a 20-page, I think, or 19-page document of law enforcement agencies that I will also send you. On any of these rooms, it seems like the theme is everybody wants to go cybersecurity. I'm telling you, that's great. But you guys all need to start thinking outside the box a little bit, and when I say that, don't just look at the big names. Okay, look at the little names that are out there. They're hiring more than the bigger names are. The bigger names is really competitive because they're getting thousands of applications, within a month. Okay, it's just something to think about. I was telling somebody in another room I was next to Costco at one of the last events I was at, and the Costco rep was looking for cyber people. Okay, so that's just something to think about when you're trying to apply for a job. Hey, thank you guys for your time. I will put my information in the chat.
Thank you, Robert. Great information, great resource. Please check out that page and please connect with Robert on LinkedIn. It's such great opportunities there. Carmen, turn it over to you.
Well, I just wanted to share a great education tool called AI Ready Veteran, and it's an AI-powered tool to help provide resources with information on transitioning. And all of you today are going to get a code to use that platform for free for up to a year. And we'll email it to you, but I'm going to give it to you right now too. The code is V2I001. Again, V2I001. And we'll put that in the chat and we'll email it out along with the video from today. And that's to use the AI Ready Veteran platform for free for up to a year.
Thank you, Carmen, for that update. I think I saw Trevor's hand up and then you took it down. Would you like to share?
Oh yeah, I was just going to say best military resume is a big one to use too.
Thank you. And is there anybody else that would like to share before we go into our next breakout room?